Jack Tomlinson, man, JT, second time around. It's great to have you back on the show, dude.
Yeah, dude, I'm super happy to be here. Great journey to be a part of.
Thank you, man. Well, we're happy to have you. And in a way, I feel like I've kind of been part of yours watching you and Connor on the show. And that might be where we start. Look, how excited are you to see him back for season 3?
Dude, I mean, it's going to be incredible. I think a lot of what people have to look forward to is the shift in Connor's just approach to dating and the whole experience. Because at first he was so new to everything. He had never experienced these feelings, these emotions, and he was scared. He was nervous, but he learned so much from it. And in this new season, I'm so excited for people to see because he's a new guy, and for the better. He is, and he would tell you that it's awesome. It's beautiful to watch.
That's amazing, man. And even like on his Instagram post is so funny. I think I saw him make a post one time that was like, if I had coffee with myself from 5 years ago, he would ask me this,
yeah.
and I would tell him this. By the way, that must have hit you right in the heartstrings.
Yeah.
But like, how cool has it been to see him, I don't know, transform a little bit, come into his own? You must be proud, dude.
It's been incredible to watch that journey, and that post was, I mean, it sums everything up, to be honest with you. It hit it on the head, and you get a little emotional watching something like that. So it was really cool to put that out, but just because it's real. I mean, and we've got to see that and watch him grow into the man he is now and the man he is today. And Connor does things that I couldn't even do. He's got confidence that I wouldn't even have, and I don't even.
He does.
So it's truly a beautiful thing, and it's been great to watch it.
Were you nervous at all for him the second time around? Because like the first time, I don't know, maybe you didn't know what to expect. This time you kind of did. So were you nervous for him? Were you nervous for yourself? Because like you're on the show too.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. What was that like being kind of round 2 here?
That's a good question. Honestly, I would say I was a little more nervous first time around. Obviously, we had seen a season of the show. We kind of knew what it was. And, it was like, how's Connor going to respond to this? This is something he wants to do. This is a journey he wants to take. But how is this going to unfold? And we all saw, obviously, on season 2, how it did unfold. And there were great points to it. Absolutely. He grew so much, but there was also some really tough times. So honestly, seeing the guy that was walking in the hallways of my house and I was eating dinner with was just a change. So I was way more excited for him than I was nervous. And I think I was excited for all of us to get to watch him do this again and be a part of this.
I wonder if like, because from what I've seen, there does seem like such a difference, and maybe his approach to dating has changed, his confidence has increased. Is there anything maybe that you can attribute to sort of that change, or is that just part of growing up, like what we all do?
I think there's a lot of things, because obviously Connor's on a different path than most people, especially when it comes to dating.
Yeah, right.
Not only is he neurodiverse, but he's doing it in such a big fashion. He's doing it on the show, and I don't know I could do it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if it's something that I could even have confidence in or have success in. And I think Connor is just thriving in a way that's so inspirational. Not only is he dealing with his diagnosis and autism, but he's on the show. He's in front of a camera doing these things, and he's kicking butt at it, and he's doing a great job. And it's all genuine. Is the beautiful part of it. None of it's faked. None of it's any of that. He truly means what he says. And I know we had the great pleasure of meeting you in New York. Connor will tell you how it is, whether he's in a good mood or a bad mood. So,
dude, he'll tell you exactly how it is. He was wonderfully polite. We got stopped and recognized. We were just sitting at a restaurant in Manhattan, which, by the way, thank you guys again for meeting up. What a surreal moment for me.
That was a good time, yeah.
And we got stopped 3 separate times. I was like, man, maybe one of these people will recognize me and not him. But it was really cool to see like the impact that the show has in real life. I'm curious, man. So when the idea came for Connor to maybe return for season 3, was he nervous? Was he excited? Like, what was the feeling there?
Definitely thought about it. It wasn't an instant, yeah, we're going to jump back into this.
Right.
Like he wanted to think about it, because obviously, like I said, there was beautiful parts of the first season, but also there was even a moment, and we can all kind of remember a scene where he's having a little bit of a panic attack, a freak out, and he just didn't want to, have that replicated. And so there was definitely a thought process behind it. But I think once he made his mind up and he was like, you know what, I'm going to give this another shot, it was full steam ahead. There was no stopping that guy. And I'm really excited for everybody to get to watch it.
I think it's going to be the most popular show on Netflix this year. I don't know if it was it last year, or was it?
I know it sat at number 3 for a long time. I don't know if it reached number 1. Maybe it did for a day, but it's going to this year. I promised you that, dude.
Let's go, man. I love to hear that. And it should. It deserves to be. Will we see you in it this season?
Yeah, you will.
All right. All right. How is that for you, man? Like, again, you expect the cameras and all that, but is it still surreal? Is it still nerve wracking, or now it's more comfortable for you?
Definitely. I mean, obviously you learn to be more comfortable, but when, they first throw those cameras on and it's like go time, it's a little bit like, what the hell do I do? But I mean,
Yeah.
being so real, it's a very down to earth crew, and it's just we're in our house, we're having a conversation, and that's what it is. I mean, that's what you'll see, and that's real.
I'm excited to maybe pause there and pick up later. But another thing I want to talk about that we talked about earlier, we were both kind of in the beginning of like pursuing new things, right? Like me with YouTube and you with this brand, Unify.
Yeah.
What's the status of that? What has gone on between then and now? And like, what are you looking for in the future?
So, I mean, anybody who watched first episode and who's kept up knows that, we did a really hard push of Unify, my brand. It's my sister and I's brand. And we actually did a collab with our brother Connor. And the whole idea behind the brand is really just promoting unity and unifying people, bringing people
Right.
together, no matter what you are, who you are, what you look like. We're sick of seeing all the division and the hate. So
Well
it's
said.
a big thing for us to try to have something that brings people together, and we're trying to do a lot. Now, that being said, we did kind of have a brief pause on the brand, I'd say, over the past couple months. One thing social media, and you can speak to this absolutely, social media promotes it promotes instant gratification. People don't necessarily understand, unless you're in it, right, the true grind that goes into starting something like that, or starting a YouTube channel, starting a podcast, just like, I mean, it. But also you have to afford the life you live now, and you have to be able to afford to do these things, so eventually one day you can full-time do it. And
Absolutely.
sometimes jobs and real life gets in the way of things, and you have to deal with that. That's reality. But staying persistent and not letting that affect your goal and your dream is the goal. And honestly,
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Mike. And one thing that I've always admired from you is it seems like motivation isn't really, and it may be, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't really in your process. It seems like you just know the goal you want, and whatever it takes, like whether you're motivated or not, you're going to get it done. And that's something I really admire, because it's something that I've noticed I've struggled with. And it's having that, it is a motivation in a way, knowing the end goal, knowing what you want, but days where you feel beat down and you're like, I don't have the fire under me to go do this, but I'm just going to do it. How do you do that?
Dude, I appreciate you asking that. And I also appreciate you being honest about Unify. I just want to say, I very much believe that this is going to be a very real thing, a very large thing. But I think sometimes you got to, win the war, and you can lose a battle along the way. Maybe in the recent months, you just lost a battle and you've got a war to win, and that's what you do moving forwards. But, I'd hate to glorify myself and say, I'm this really disciplined guy and I've got, even motivation or not, I get it done. But I think for me, I've really identified with the show. I feel very comfortable, very passionate when I'm in front of the camera, when I'm having conversations like this.
Yeah.
Like, I feel a sense of presence doing episodes like the one we're doing right now that I don't feel anywhere else in my life. And the only way I can describe it, and I've said it before, is that I feel closer to God when I have these conversations. And so I'm going to be honest, some weeks I don't want to upload. And some weeks I'm extremely stressed in my full-time job, or I have a million things going on and I'm just like, man, this is too much. But in those moments, I try to bring myself back to the fact that if what I'm pursuing here is my dream, is fully actualizing myself and using my skill set, then the only way to get there is to continue to try and put one foot in front of the other. And if some weeks I get no subscribers, and if some weeks nobody watches, which happens, that is okay, because along the way, I'm becoming the person who's able to have a large podcast down the line. I'm becoming the person who's able to influence people or have people, care about what I want to say. And so,
100%.
but it's not easy, brother. It's not easy. It's really, really hard, and it can be lonely, as you know well, when you're putting all this work in and you're not seeing immediate results. But I think that's what anchors me to it, is the hope of a future where I get to feel close to God every day. But I appreciate you bringing that up, because I feel like you had a lot of momentum, and then that happens at the beginning of shit, right? You feel like you have the wind at your back, and it's
100%.
first launch, first episode, it's goes great for a month, and then you're like, whoo, okay, now what? And you're like, okay, I don't know if you can resonate, but you kind of get a little traction, and then
100%,
and then you got to step back.
Yeah, well
man.
said. Thank you.
Yeah. So look, I know maybe, in the future, this comes back, or even now you're going to push for a new launch. Has the vision remained the same though? Unify still is exactly what it was always about.
Absolutely. That's still the goal. Absolutely. We truly believe in that message, but it's making it happen. I'm 20 years old, so it's There's a lot going on in my life. You know, when you're young and I guess naive, I would say, you want things in your life that when push comes to shove and the time is now, you do step back and you're like, well, is this really what I want to be doing, or is it just a fantasy I always thought? Because I didn't know this part was in it. I didn't know this was involved.
Yeah, right, right.
I didn't know I had to do this. I think it's a beautiful thing because I think you can always step back and that young person, that young driven soul is always going to be within you. You're now more equipped to manage those hard things. So as long as you still have the passion and the drive as you once did, it's there. There are strategies you need to implement in your life to go get it.
Dude, it's so well said. So I just did an episode with a good friend of mine. His name is Joe Potenza. He's an entrepreneur. He does real estate. He lives down in Florida.
Cool guy.
Great dude. He was explaining a concept that he said Alex Hormozi coined, but he explained it to me really well, which is effectively what you just said, which is when you start anything new, you get what's called uninformed optimism. Like you're really naive.
That S chart he was talking about.
Right.
Dude.
You're really naive and you're like, oh, this is going to be great. And then you start to hit hurdles and you get what's called informed pessimism, where it's like, wait a second, this is really hard. Like this is really, really hard. I didn't know about these things. And so the process of any successful person is to continually reach those new informed levels of pessimism and find ways, whether it's today or in the future, to just take what you know, learn new stuff, and then continue along the S-curve. And that's kind of the way that success is found is like you achieve and then you learn things are hard. And then you figure that out and you achieve more and you learn more things are hard. I'm curious, man, like there is a lot of division in the world, like right now as we speak, and there has been for a long time. There's also a lot of division within me in a lot of ways. I wonder if the brand Unify, like, does it represent you at all? Does it represent what's going on in the world? Is it all of it? How do you think about that?
Yeah, and that's a great question. I'm happy you bring that up. The main push, the main goal is about bringing people together, and the beauty of what the show kind of showed us, Love on the Spectrum showed our family. That's something that brings people together, and it's a beautiful
Absolutely.
thing. We want to do something like that. But then you can do a lot of self-reflection and you can absolutely apply the brand and the idea behind it to yourself and your thoughts. I don't know, for me recently, like my head's been back and forth, exactly that S-curve kind of deal. Do I really want to do this? And then I'll hit a point where it's like, yeah, this is what I want. And then I'll go back and I'm so wishy-washy, and I'm sure you can relate to that.
Oh, dude, I feel that way every day, even with the show we're on. Like, I believe that this is it for me, but I still have that doubt.
Having that message within yourself and to rein your emotions all into one and weed out the bull crap is kind of the idea behind it. But absolutely, it does go deeper. And I like to hit on that. We are going to do a hard launch with Unify here soon. It's coming back. We're ready to go. So yeah, we've been doing a ton, doing a lot of photo shoots, doing a lot of filming, just trying to get some content. So really excited for that.
Am I remembering correctly? I think I might have seen Drake May wearing a Unify piece.
Drake London.
Drake London. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
By the way,
Yeah.
I don't know how you landed that, but that's an awesome.
Crazy story actually. So he was a big fan of Connor, and they happened to be grand marshals at the Special Olympics in Atlanta together. And went up, introduced myself to Drake. Super down to earth dude, like seriously. Wouldn't even expect a guy like that to give me the time of day, but he did. He absolutely sat. We had a conversation, and I was like, hey man, like I have a brand that I think you would be. I'd love to just send you out some stuff. No strings attached. Love to just send it out. And so I did, and sure enough, yeah, he reps that stuff. He lets me know he loves it. So, maybe we can cook something up with Drake in the future. We'll see.
It's so interesting how the flywheel all works. Like what a blessing Love on the Spectrum has been for you guys. Now you have this whole network of people that are like on board with the mission here.
Yeah,
man.
It's a beautiful thing. It really is. And that's a gift from God. I'll tell you, seriously.
Look, I know we all love Connor and we want to know more about Connor, but we also want to know more about you, man, and all you guys. I think your family is one that even like, not because I've listened to other podcasts about Connor and with him on them, and everybody's like, these are good people. We want to know more about you, dude. What's new in your world? Since we spoke, I think that was like 6-8 months ago. How you been lately?
I started a new job in December.
Congrats.
Selling homes. So that's been really, really good. I'm learning a ton there. That's another thing I've noticed, is, kind of kicking off my professional career. I learned so much in that job that I can, whether, it's what I want to do for the rest of my life or not, you can take so much from it and apply that to what you want to do and grow that. At the same time, you're growing your bank account because you need that. Dude. Honestly, I know it's a common thing, but my mom told me one time, it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's so true, because there are things that I've learned in the past 6 months that I'm like, dude, I didn't even know that was a part of the process. I didn't even know that about this, but it's so good because in 5 years time, I will be so equipped to hopefully go do my own thing. And
Right.
ultimately that's my goal. I've always had a very entrepreneurially minded soul, and that's what I want to do. I want to be the boss. I want to know how to manage a team, and that's my goal. So I'm learning things that, my manager may say something to me and I'm like, yeah, I would never say that to somebody, but now I know that I can apply that to the next thing.
Yeah, well said.
Or they can say something to me that I'm like, I really like that. I appreciated that. I can apply this. So it's amazing. And I would honestly say to anybody because I know a ton of people like that who just don't have the foundation to go do your own thing just yet, don't have the money, whatever it may be. Do not be scared to go get a job, because there's going to be times in your life where you're going to have to hustle. You're going to have to put your mind to something to get the next. You're not just going to walk into $1 million, $1 billion business that you run. It's not a thing.
It's also, I also think it's such an exercise in humility. Like for me, at least, even with the show, like I almost was a little arrogant. Like, oh, I'm going to come on here and like, how could people not love me? Like candidly, that's kind of a little bit how I felt. And then, over time, I think you get humbled, and like in your full-time job, you continually get humbled. But that process of being humbled is how you learn.
It's small-minded. Yes, exactly that.
It absolutely is, bro. Well, look, I'm curious to hear, because I really like, I know before, you launched Unify, you were on YouTube, you were making some videos, and you were talking about, some of this authentic best self stuff. And I really enjoyed that stuff. I wonder if now, as you kind of look inwards, I don't know, is there anything you're trying to like work towards or be better at? I think it's always nice to have conversations with, especially with guys like you and I that just are honest. Like, hey, here's what I could do a little better.
Definitely one thing I've been working towards would be giving a little more grace to people. It's human nature to be judgy or
quick to anger, all that.
Conclusions always. But I've learned people do not think the way you think. Everybody has a different way of processing things and handling things. So again, off the topic of being small-minded, it would be small-minded for you to judge somebody but it's going to happen, right? You're a human being.
Right.
But I just trying to limit that in my life because it can cost you. At times it really can. And so trying to get a hold of that and just giving more grace, giving more love is the way.
I think one thing I'm trying to do is give myself a little grace, man.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more patient with me.
That's a big one.
My whole life, I've been trying to run 1,000,000 miles an hour in a million different directions. And so right now I'm still trying to run 1,000,000 miles an hour, but like at least being a little bit more kind to myself along the way,
Yeah.
And because I think you are so much more able to achieve things when you are of like calm mind, when your self-talk is a little bit better. Those are things that I'm definitely working towards right now. So look, I want to maybe close with the last few questions. I saw your mom and Tanner's mom start a podcast, dude.
Yeah, how cool.
Congrats to them. I've listened to every episode. I think it's called Talk to Me Sis, TTMS. Any stories behind that? Like what was the genesis and how cool has it been to see your mom like in the podcasting world?
It's awesome. First of all, those two are going to be special.
Yep.
Because how it all started was just the demand for it. How many young parents who have just heard about this diagnosis, received this diagnosis, are looking for a voice that Mom and Nikki didn't have. And they were moving through this one day at a time. And now look at their boys. Connor and Tanner are two of the most genuine human beings I've ever met in my life. And they're two of the most inspirational human beings I've ever met. And Nikki and Mom are a huge part in that.
They raised them
100%. And so I think it's going to be incredible to have the route they're taking, getting the people on that they are, is going to be trailblazing. I think it's something that isn't out there and is needed. There's a gap in the market for it. So I'm excited for them. I think it's a beautiful thing, and definitely stay tuned. They're so excited about it, but they're going to crush it truly. And they're going to help a lot of people out, and they're going to give a lot of people peace and hope.
Awesome, man. And I love that you said that there's a bit of a gap in the market there, because like even specifically with respect to parents of children maybe that have autism or are neurodivergent, I can imagine there is. And especially a podcast hosted by two women, both mothers.
Yeah.
I can imagine another mother listening to that being like, oh, I feel like these are my people. Like they get me.
100%.
In ways that like, if I just tell my friends about this, they just don't understand. It's a unique situation to be in, to be raising somebody like that.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see it grow. I know it is. The production quality is excellent. If anybody's listening right now is interested, what is it? TTMS?
Gosh, yeah. Talk to me, TTMS. She's always walking around, TTMS. But yeah.
That's unbelievable, man. And well, look, please wish Connor the best from me and from all of us here at Forever Forward. Connor is the driving force behind a good deal of the success that we've had on the show. So I am always grateful to him and to you guys. And I know you have a lake day ahead of you, so I want to say,
Yeah.
have a blast, brother. Man, I got to get out
Thank
to South
you.
Carolina sometime. Those are my
Definitely, dude. You
people.
gotta come down. You gotta come down.
I would love to sometime. Well, thanks again, dude. I'll let you get back to your Saturday, but I appreciate you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate it. You're doing something big, so I'll keep doing it.